All right, so you've made it to day 27. Your final Python project is done, the code runs, and that is a huge win. But today we're going to take it a step further. We are going to talk about how to give your project that professional polish, the thing that turns a simple script into a piece of real-world software.
So let's just get right to it. Your code works, it gives you the right answers, but is it professional? I mean, is it easy for someone else or you 6 months from now to read? Can you easily add new features to it? And what happens when a user does something totally unexpected? Does it just crash and burn? Answering these questions is what this is all about.
To make this super concrete, we're going to use a simple example, a basic chatbot. It technically works, but it's got 3 classic problems. First, its logic is a messy, tangled chain of if, elif, else statements. Second, it has the memory of a goldfish. Restart the program, and it forgets everything. And third, it's fragile. The second a user types something it doesn't expect, the whole thing crashes. So let's fix these, one by one.
Okay, first up, that clunky logic. We're going to do something called refactoring. Now that's just a fancy developer word for cleaning up and restructuring our code to make it better without actually changing what it does. And the secret weapon we're going to use for this is the Python dictionary. So here's what we're starting with. This tower of if, elif, else statements. Now for just 2 or 3 commands, maybe it seems fine. But what happens when you want to add 10 more? Or 50? It just becomes this long, unreadable mess that's an absolute nightmare to debug and add to. Trust me, there is a much, much better way.
And that better way is the dictionary. You can think of it just like a real-world dictionary. You have a unique word, that's the key, and you look it up to find its definition, that's the value. It's this simple key-value structure that's going to let us completely transform our code.
And check this out. Here's the after. On the right, we've replaced that entire ugly block of code with one simple, clean dictionary. The user's command is the key, and the function we need to run is the value. The best part? Adding a new command is as simple as adding one more line to the dictionary. No more elifs. This is so much cleaner, more readable, and it's built to grow. Okay, so our code is looking way cleaner, but our chatbot still has a serious case of amnesia. The moment we close the program, our whole conversation is just gone. Let's fix that by giving it a memory using something called file handling. This is what we call data persistence.
So imagine you're having a conversation with your bot. You say hello, you ask how it's doing. Everything seems great.
But then you have to close the program. Maybe you restart your computer. You come back later and run the script again.
And poof, it's all gone. The chat log is completely empty. It has absolutely no memory of what you just talked about. That's just not how professional software should work, right? We need to save that data somewhere more permanent.
The best, most Pythonic way to handle files is with the with statement. Here's how it works. You say with open, and you give it a file name, and you give it a mode. Here we're using a for append, which just means add new stuff to the end of the file. Then inside that block, you can write whatever you want. And here's the magic part. The with statement guarantees the file gets closed properly, no matter what. Even if your program hits an error, it's taken care of. It's like a built-in safety net. And this is a huge deal, not just for chatbots. Writing to files is a fundamental skill in programming. It's used for everything, creating log files to track what your app is doing, saving user preferences, generating reports, you name it. Getting this down is a massive step. All right, so our code is clean and our bot has a memory. Now for the final upgrade. Let's make it robust. Strong. Right now it's fragile. It breaks the second a user does something it doesn't expect. A robust program anticipates problems and handles them gracefully. And that is the art of error handling.
Oh yeah, we've all seen this. That terrifying wall of red text, the traceback. In this case, our program wanted a number and the user typed ABC. What happens? A value error, and the whole program comes to a screeching halt. A professional app can't do that. It needs to tell the user what went wrong and let them try again.
So, to handle errors the Python way, we need to get familiar with this idea called EAFP. It stands for easier to ask for forgiveness than permission. It sounds a little weird, but all it means is this. Instead of checking for every possible problem beforehand, just try to run the code. Just go for it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, it'll raise an exception and we'll have a plan ready to catch it and deal with the problem.
And this right here is the tool we use for that plan, the try except block. It's so simple. You put your risky code, the stuff that might fail, inside the try part. Then you tell it what to do if a specific error happens, like a value error, inside the accept part.
It's another safety net. If the code in the try block fails, the program doesn't crash. It just jumps down to the accept block and keeps on going.
Okay, so we've covered 3 incredibly powerful techniques. Let's put them all together now and see what happens to our little chatbot project.
And here it is, the big transformation. On the left, we had code that was clunky, forgetful, and fragile. And on the right, we have the professionally polished version. It uses a clean dictionary for its commands, it saves its conversation to a file so it has a memory, and it uses a try-except block so it won't crash on bad input. I mean, look at that. It's not just better code, it's a totally different class of application.
So when you're finishing up your own final project, just keep these 3 key upgrades in mind. 1, use dictionaries to replace those messy if-elif chains. 2, use withOpen to save data and give your app a memory. And 3, use try-except blocks to catch errors and make your program robust and crash-proof. Seriously, these aren't just little tricks. They are the absolute building blocks of professional, real-world software. So as you're putting those finishing touches on your Day 27 project, ask yourself this: how can you apply these ideas? How are you going to take your code from just working to truly professional?